Let's walk through one unit so you can see what all this looks like in the book itself. We'll take Unit 5, which deals with the geographic region of North Africa. Each unit begins with 2 pages which introduce the unit. The first page gives a brief summary of what we'll be talking about in this unit, as well as a list of lessons. The next page gives unit assignments. First, there is a Bible passage to memorize during this unit, and then a list of books the student needs during the unit. Next are options for a writing project, and 2 options for another kind of creative project related to this unit. Students choose 1 project per unit as part of their credit in English. The literature assignment for this unit and the next one is the book Patricia St. John Tells Her Own Story. It is assigned during this unit because Patricia St. John, the author of many beloved books for young people, worked at a mission hospital in Morocco for many years, but she also lived in many places during her life. Each time a new book is assigned, we introduce students to the author and give information about how the book fits into the study of geography. On the first day of Unit 5, the student reads the first lesson, which deals with Tunisia and the Arab Spring revolutions of a few years ago. Notice the wonderful illustrations and clear, easy-to-read text. At the end of each lesson in Exploring World Geography is a list of that day's assignments. The Gazetteer assignment has the student look at the relevant maps. 3 or 4 times a week, the student has a worldview assignment that leads up to the topic of the final lesson in the unit. There are reminders to work on the project and to plan to finish it by the end of the unit, and to read the literature title. Today's literature assignment tells the student to start reading St. John's memoir and tells her when to plan on finishing the book. The text tells students when to start and when to finish each literature title. If your student is using the student review, he will turn to the review questions over Lesson 21. Parents can choose to go over the questions orally with their student or have their student write down the answers. Today and all through the week, the student must also remember to continue to work on memorizing this week's memory work. The next day, the student reads Lesson 22 about another significant geographic place and event in North Africa involving people and geography, the Suez Canal. The assignments at the end of this lesson include maps of North African countries in the Gazetteer, a worldview question, reminders about the project and the literature, and an assignment to answer the lesson review questions in the student review book. Many lessons highlight cultural geography by focusing on an ethnic group in a given place. Lesson 23 is about the Berber group of North Africa. The assignments for this lesson include maps in the Gazetteer, a beautiful and fascinating photo essay on the Sahara Desert, a worldview question, reminders about the project and the literature, answering the questions on the lesson in the student review book. Lesson 24 deals with the often overlooked but extremely important North Africa campaign during World War II. We learn the geographic significance of the campaign in the war and for the region. Lesson 24 assignments include a map skills activity in the student review book, and we scheduled the documents and the map skills assignments so that the student wouldn't have an overload of assignments on any given day. A worldview question, reminders about the project and the literature, and answering the questions in the student review book. Lesson 25, the 5th and last lesson in the unit, is a worldview lesson, which is a survey of the religion of Islam, which is a major part of the culture of North Africa. We need to understand something of the worldview of Muslims to understand the world in which we live. This lesson deals fairly with this faith, but also points out how it differs from Christianity. On this last day of the unit, students recite or write the unit Bible memory verse, they finish their unit project, they continue reading the literature, students complete the daily review questions over Lesson 25, and take the geography quiz over the first 4 lessons of Unit 5. After this lesson, students also take the geography, English, and worldview exams over Units 1 through 5. Students take these exams after every 5 units. All questions on the weekly geography quizzes come from the lesson review questions of the first 4 lessons of a unit. All questions on the geography exams come from the weekly quizzes. Questions on the literature exams come from the literary analyses and review questions on the books. Questions on the worldview exams come from the review questions on the worldview lessons. So, studying for these quizzes and exams is clear, straightforward, and manageable. So that's 1 unit. We made it easy for your student to know exactly what he is expected to do each day. The parent has minimal preparation. You don't even need a teacher's manual because everything is laid out clearly in the student books. Best of all, you and your student will enjoy this study. You'll have lots to talk about and lots to think about. Our website has an abundance of material you can use as your student studies the curriculum. Get ready for a fun, fascinating, and faith-building journey with Exploring World Geography. You and your student can succeed at homeschooling in high school. We're happy to answer any questions you have, so please get in touch. Thanks for watching.